Well, hi folks, Monday evening, first day after the big storm over the weekend where it's put about 3 or 4 inches of rain down and blown a gale. So I've just really come up to see what has happened to the plot. I would imagine everything's been blown away, blown to bits. So we'll just have a look. I thought the onions might get a bit flattened as they have been. So they'll be coming out now and getting dried off in the polytunnel. So, judging by what's fallen and what hasn't, it looks like the wind's come from this direction because there's some garlic there been blown over. So we'll have a little pull of one of those up and see how big they are. But yeah, the onions, they're all ready to come out now if they've been flattened, so it's not a big deal. They're a decent size. If I pull them up, look. Plenty big enough. So we'll get those up in the polytunnel. Oops, sorry. Spring onions have stood up there. Shallots, some of the shallots have flopped over too. Needs a bit of a weeding, so I'll just show you how big they are. Big enough as usual. They're the banana shallots. So like I said, plenty big enough, so as soon as these start flopping over, I'll start pulling those out and drying those off too. So what else have we got? The third and final lot of lettuces. That should see me into September now, and then that'll be about it for the year. They're the previous ones. They've gone a bit over, gone a bit too big. As you can see, the costs have bolted. And this is where the peas were. You can just make out in between the weeds. I only sowed those about 5 days ago. 2 little rows of turnips. So they should come ready for about Christmas time to go with the carrots for Christmas lunch. So yeah, quite a few of the garlic still standing, but I'll just pull one of these up and see how big they are. I would have liked them to grow a little bit longer, but seeing as it's flopped over, it'll stop growing now. So we'll just dig one up and see how big they are. And they look big enough to me. I'll put that up. They've got hellish roots. I should have brought something to dig it out with. I'll just pull it way up. An amazing root system. So I'm not too dissatisfied with that. Reasonable size. Golf ball, a bit bigger than a golf ball size. And like I said, the others that are still stood up, they'll grow for another couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, until they all fall over. But anything that's fallen over, allium wise, it'll stop growing because once the net gets bent over, it stops the energy going into the bulb. So we'll get those dried out as and when they flop over. Spuds are still standing just, but they're not looking too great this year. The sarpos, I kept my own seed, so that might be the problem. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see how they get on. And I've just got one little pot of new potatoes left there. As you can see, it's just about finishing off or going yellow. And I've planted some parsnips this year outside. If I move this potato plant, what I did was I cored some holes in the excuse me, normal soil with a crowbar and just filled them full of compost. And they're looking quite good on top. They've got heckish leaves on them. I'm not a big fan of parsnips, but about 8 will do. So that's something else this year. Right into this bit. Now, to be honest, I thought my flowers would have been absolutely battered. They've probably been blown over a bit, but they're still looking alright, considering. Still flowering away, look. Not bad for 2 quid worth of seeds. Really pleased with these this year. And they should self-seed next year. And I'll plant some sort of specific varieties as well in amongst them. But no, I'm really chuffed with these this year. A £2 of pound stretch of wildflower seeds just chucked in. A little bit of weeding. And you get a crop like that. Well, not a crop, a display like that. So, I don't know how far they'll seed. They'll probably seed everywhere, but it doesn't matter. Right, my other onions, as you can see, have all been blown over. But again, big enough to take, so no problem with those. Been taking the kale now, eating loads of kale. Just eating the tender leaves at the top instead of the tougher leaves at the bottom. But that should go all winter now. if it stands up to the weather. Good easy crop to grow. I did take the cover off my cabbage thing the other day because you can't see through it, that's the trouble. And they had a few rather, well, you can probably see a bit better in there. There's a half decent cabbage in there. And it's quite early for red cabbages, so they'll probably grow all over winter too, grow, you know, well into up to Christmas time, so should have a nice supply of those. Leeks are doing well this year. Got some amazingly long flags, as they call them, leaves. Look at the length of that. That, I'm not kidding, that's 3 foot long. Look. Now why it is so long is beyond me, because it's the stumpiest little plant there is. Like that, look. Just horrendously long leaves on them this year. But all doing well so far. Not the biggest ever, but I grow them that close together. I'd rather get sort of twice as many little ones than a load of giant ones. So looking so good so far. And I've been picking some more of this rhubarb. It's just about finishing now. This is the pink champagne stuff. I've got quite a few crops of this going now, a few plants. It's really sweet. You don't really need any sugar with it. So my polytunnel has withstood the latest storm. As you can see there, it's just all held together now with sticky tape. There's a great big tear in it there, but I just keep putting loads of this tape on and it's holding together. It's better than spending about 200 or 300 quid on a new cover and spending all the time digging it out and getting it put on, so I won't recover it until it's absolutely necessary, till it's ripped. So these are my crocosmia. They come up every year. Great plant, but it's always a sign that autumn's upon us for me. So into the polytunnel again we go. The cucumber plant's looking a bit sickly, but it's producing cucumbers. That one's a strange looking one, but that one's about to look. It's only in a small pot. I have fed it, so I'm not sure why the leaves are looking a bit yellow. Maybe there's another disease there that I've missed. But anyway, it's producing more than you can eat anyway, so that's all you need. And the courgette's still pumping out courgettes, as you can see. Big spider there. It's fallen over, but you can see how many I've taken off. Each one of these is a courgette that I've taken off, and it just keeps going and going and going. Which is, it's okay, but you get a bit bored with them. And then the French beans, just about coming to an end, this crop. With the final few on. They're getting a little bit big now, because I've not been up for 5 days. But since they've just about finished, that's the second lot I put in about a month after sowing the others. And these are just starting to produce flowers. So we should have another 6 weeks on these plants. So we'll be continuing to pull the old French beans up. Tomatoes are a bit late this year, but they're doing well in the soil. Not had any ripe ones yet, but they're looking quite healthy. Probably looking straight into the sun, so you can't see. So there you go, look. And the best thing about growing them in the soil is you don't have to worry about watering them every day, because there's that much water in the soil. There's a reservoir, they can be left for a while. And the carrots, looking good. Show carrots. I'll be putting them in my local show, but that's about it. But so far so good, no sign of any carrot fly or anything. So as strange as it seems, they're probably going to be the best carrots I've ever grown, and I'm only putting them in my local show, so anyway, it doesn't matter. Right, another cucumber plant and another enormous, look at the size of that for a courgette plant. I honestly, it looks like there's a marrow up here on that one. I'll just pull this off, hang on. That's what happens when you leave a courgette for 3 days. It becomes a marrow. I'm sick of them actually, to be honest. There's not a lot you can do with them, but anyway. There we go. These are those chilli plants that I planted, the ones that are supposed to be very sweet chilli pearls. The ones in the greenhouse in pots are not doing well at all. These are looking a little bit better in the soil. And I've just about got the first little tiny chillies on. But it's very late, and I sowed them early. But we'll see, keep them growing. As soon as the frost comes they'll die off, but we might get a few of those little chillies to try before the frosts arrive. What else? So I brought a few of my onions in that had flopped over the other day. Just drying them out in here in the polytunnel under cover, and I'll just bring all the rest in. Just lay them out on the bed. Keep all the doors open, bit of ventilation, and just let them dry out slowly. And then finally, the big red onions, well, they're not that big at all, as you can probably see. I'm a bit short of space. Ooh, I'll sit down for this. Like I said, these are a strain that have completely lost the vigour now. They used to be quite big. I grew some to about £4.5 about 10 years ago, but that's how big they are this year. So, I don't know, maybe getting on for maybe £2. Might be heavy, I might be surprised. But it looks like they're finishing now because the leaves have got absolutely burnt off when it was really hot, as you can see. But we'll just keep them growing anyway, just keep watering them slowly. Seeing if we get a few more ounces out of them, and then I'll pull them up in September as soon as they've died off and weigh it and see how much they weigh. So that's about it, folks. Like I said, not a lot going on. It's just really time to start harvesting stuff now, tidying up the beds. We've got a few more visitors next door. The horses have vanished, and now we've got a lot of cows and calves and a giant bull over there. He's a right beast. So hopefully these will become a bit friendlier, because I like cows. Anyway, that's about it, folks. Like I said, not a lot going on. See you later.